Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another Live by Thrive, a Grad Partners initiative. My name is Akhilesh Pinkande and I'll be your host for today. Today we have with us national winners of Reckitt Global Challenge 2023 from the Institute of IIM Mumbai, Srijan, Sneha and Prianshu. I'd like to hand over the stage to the team and start the discussion for today. Welcome everyone.
Uh, Thank you, Akhilesh. Let's do a round of introductions first. I'll go first. So I am Srijan. As Akhilesh said, I am from Mumbai, 2024 pass out, and currently working with Reckitt as a result of winning the competition in the supply chain.
Sneha, you want to go next?
Sure. So, hi, I'm Sneha. Again, I've passed out of IIM Mumbai, previously called NITI, in 2024. I am currently working with AT Kearney, which is a consulting company. And I've participated in many case studies before, but Reckitt was like my first national win. I've been the finalist or semi finalist of Flipkart along with Abhay and a couple of others like HCCP.
Hey, hi, this is Prianshu Sharma. I am also from IIM Mumbai and I'm currently working with HUL. And we, like, apart from participating in Reckitt Global Challenge, I also participate in other few case competitions, but this was my major accomplishment throughout 2 years. So let me start with the brief introduction about the case, what the challenge was, and from where it what was the different problem statement. Definitely, I don't remember the other problem statement, but this was the problem statement with which we won this case competition. So Srijan, can you go to the next slide?
Yeah, sure. So just to make it
So
clear,
this
the way it works in Reckitt is that you get a couple or three different case statements, and you have to pick one to go ahead with and repeat this one. Yeah,
Yeah, you'll
I
get
think this
three
works.
problem statements usually, and you'll have to pick one and make a solution around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the case competition format is the first. It started with a business simulation round. So in that business simulation round, it was a actual business simulation round where you have to maximize profit, and all those business scenarios were there. Like apart, it's not only about like profit maximization. Apart from like cost optimization, then how to reach to like customers. So it encapsulates everything from the business perspective. So it took around like 1.5 hours to complete that business simulation, and it was from every aspect of the business, even from from marketing to operations to finance to HR. So that was a business simulation round, and it was a like very one of the best, you can say, the format of like starting a business case competition. So that is something with which we started. We qualified that round, and it was like not any easy business simulation case, you can say. Means you cannot say that like easily you can crack it. You have to be prepared that you have your friends there. All your teammates are with you to crack that particular competition. And then after that, once you will qualify that round, you will get the case competition. So my teammate Srijan already mentioned that you will get 3 to 4 case stories from which you can definitely pick the case which you want to do. And from there you will first judged on the campus, and once you will declare the campus winner, then I think so probably they will pick you for a national state. But it doesn't mean that if you have won the like if you are a campus winner, definitely it's not guaranteed that you are going to be in national competition, because every campus will have a campus winner, but only 5 people will be uh, 5 people will participate in the final national case competition. So that
we
is the
had a
flow of the
semi
case.
we had a semi-final round also between
Yeah.
the campus finals, and so there's the semi-finals and then there's the nationals. Semi-finals, all those teams who won the campus rounds had qualified for the semi-finals, and then out of that the top 5 teams qualified for the nationals. However, I would also like to add that there are three um, problem statements that were given to us with respect to different brands. However, the shortlisting is irrespective of the problem statements, because during our time, I think 4 out of the 5 teams all had taken Move ka problem statement as the one they wanted to work on. So it's irrespective of the domain that you choose.
Yeah, so
And this,
just to maybe pitch in here, I think Reckitt is one of those companies wherein there will be multiple problem statements, and it is not specifically defined that X number of finalists will be from one problem statement. So it might happen that multiple people have the same problem statement, and even at times, all the three positions are given to the same problem if the solution is that great. Again, to reiterate the round, so you would have a simulation round followed by a campus round, then a semi finale, and then a finale. And there might be additional rounds as well depending on the on that year's case comp organizing committee. So you might have an additional, let's say, quiz round or an additional pre-finale kind of a round. So all in all, this is one of those case comps which is slightly unique, slightly different. You have much more options in terms of exploring it, and at the same point of time, definitely you are given an opportunity to present your idea in front of the CXO. So yeah, that is that. Srijan, you were speaking, so please continue. Thank you.
and I was kind of going to say the same thing, that it
Okay.
is one of those, like, among all the case competitions that we have participated in, that we have seen, this is the one I saw where the case prompt is most open-ended. So you have a lot of options to go through when you are going through the case, and there is a lot that you can do. It does not define exactly what they are looking for, but they want a good solution out of it, and that's what you get. So basically, as you said, it's possible that all the three winners and all the five finalists come from the same case.
Also, just I want to highlight, I think apart from like Global case competition and HUL line, these two case competitions are also like broadcasted on national television. So this is something which is particular about this two case competitions.
Yeah, Prianshu, I think,
So
could you please, explain the
yeah,
case competition?
quickly I will explain what are our problems. So we all know that Move is considered to be a brand which is associated with pain, definitely pain, but it is also associated with like older generation people, like from our grandfather, grandmother, and like even like mother, our father, mother. So it is considered to be the brand or like a choice of our older generation. There are a lot of new companies which has come into the market to solve the problem of pain. So they wanted a product, they wanted to create a product, or they wanted to create the resurgence in the brand perception. So they wanted to create a perception in the younger folks that they see this Move as a brand which they can associate with the younger generation as well. So that was the crux of the case. I think Srijan and Sneha will put more light on this case.
Yeah, I think one more thing was that, specifically it was mentioned that the sales for Move is declining specifically in affluent market segment. That was one thing that we had to target. As you would see, our solution includes different product line, but I would like to mention that it was not mentioned anywhere in the case that we have to come up with a different product line as solution. So as I mentioned, the case was open-ended. We had to come up with a solution. We came up that product line, a different product line targeting a different target segment, targeting a different market would be a good idea.
So I think we can like proceed with like how we came up probably with this solution. So now that we knew that we had to target two market groups, basically the affluent segment and secondly the younger generation, we brainstormed over like the different body parts and the different kinds of pain that we as like the youth probably face, right? So we would not face joint pain that much, or the streamlined pain that would probably be faced after the age of 50, right? Our problems were different, etc. So what happens with pain in particular is that it's not a very seasonal thing. It's not like it can happen in a in a predefined fashion. You can never predict it, which also decreases the sale of the particular or the demand for the particular relief therapy. But period pain is one kind of pain that always arises. Like, you know, it's going to happen every single month. You know, it's going to affect 50% of the population is female, right? So it's going to affect probably at least half of the 50% of population, those girls who are in like the menstrual age group. And it period pain is a very common problem that's faced all over. So that's why we decided to target this particular problem. You want to go on, guys, and like say how we went about building the solution maybe now?
I think particularly means I don't know means whether we should discuss it or not, but I think we have like few pointers that maybe probably you can add also, like how to like commonly tackle a case competition. So you can say that this is a marketing case competition, but this can be applied to all the case competition which comes during our 2 year period during the MBA. So I have few pointers, and if you want to chip in, definitely you can chip in, and also Akhilesh, if you want to like if you want to
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
something or if you want to
Priyanshu,
add
I
something,
think
you can
you
add.
can go ahead. You can go ahead. Please
Uh,
explain whatever
Srijan, if
you
you want
want
to
to go
start, or
ahead.
should I start?
No, you can start. I'll chip in.
Okay, so the first, like, the most important thing to win a case competition is like the commitment from all your, like, all of the people who are involved in the case, like all the team members. So this is the first thing which should come into the making a, when you are selecting your team members, when you are making a team, this is the first thing which should come. And probably I can say that all our team members were equally committed to this cause. Initially we were not, but as time progressed, we were heavily committed to this case competition. Initially we were like a bit reluctant because two of us got PPO in some like companies. Srijan also, like Srijan was looking for some job, but he left his PPO. So he was not also looking for Reckitt in particular, but he was looking for like we want to achieve something major in our second year of like MBA. So that was our main target, or it was not the job. So that is something, if you can say, a lot of people in second year who do the case competition, they come for primarily for job, not for like recognition or not for some accomplishment. So this is the first thing. The commitment should be there from everyone, because it takes a
I,
lot of time, lot of effort from each and every person.
I would like to add two things. First, we were when we had picked the case and we had started making our solution, and when we thought that our idea had enough strength, and by that time we were committed to win the nationals. We are not only aiming for the semifinals or the campus round. And second thing I would say is, how do you know that all of you are committed? If the three or however many members are there in the group, if you are not fighting over the idea, then and not trying to like make sure that whatever you are saying is taken seriously, if there are no fights between you regarding the case and how to proceed with the solution, then I would say your commitment is somewhere else, because we had a lot of fights coming up with the solution.
And mentioning the fights, I think we had like a fair share of fights, but also since you are going to fight in the group, it's very important that the people you're working with are kind of your friends, or at least you guys are compatible to a limit where one fight, or like you don't need to think 1,000 times before presenting your idea or like opposing somebody's idea, right? You need to be that well bonded that you can have disagreements and like you can have verbal fights and it's okay. So I think your team should be like friendly enough to not let a fight get in the middle of you presenting your idea in the end.
So I vividly remember one instance, like when we were like doing the business simulation challenge. So initially we were a bit reluctant, I can say, but like Sneha was like main propeller at that time. Ki, if you want any resource, I can get that resource, but you have to attempt this business simulation round with means all of three of us should attempt this business round very diligently. So this is one of the first impetus I can say. Then again there will be lot, because this case competition goes for like 2 3 months, 2 months I think.
Yeah.
And because definitely you will have a there will be a short burst of like high, you can say like you are very you want to win this case competition, but at the same time you want to do like, I just don't want to do this game competition, I already have PPO, I just want to go and chill something. So this phase will come, but there should be some person who will like keep on pushing you. Like it may happen that Sneha is not always like on the like high flyer, I can say, like she is not always pushing. It may be like I can also come in and say, like, dude, we also have to do this case competition, we also have to win this case competition. So there should be someone who in the team that he is always like on the toes that we have to win this competition. So that is the
Just
first point.
excitement won't get you through.
Yeah.
Excitement is
Yeah,
important, but again, work ethic is also important. You have to understand
yeah.
that when you are in a team and you are committed to doing something together, then you have to make time for it and you have to give in your 100%. And as I mentioned, this goes on for long. This is not a 5-day thing. This goes on for months. So unless
So
you are committed to it, and everyone is committed to it, unless that happens, it's not going to work. So
yeah.
make a
So
good team. That
maintaining
is
this,
very, very, very important.
I
Should we
think
go on
this
to the
then
second point?
second,
Yeah.
second point I just want to go is like you should have a complementary skill among your teammates. I will again distribute this complementary skills into two part. First is strategy or vision skills. Then again is execution part. Everyone in MBA wants to say that I am a person who makes strategy. Everyone says like this is a big thing which everyone wants to boast about. Ki, like I am good with strategy. Everyone wants to be a strategy consultant or something like this. But people should mind this. Ki, making a good story is a different thing, and executing it bit by bit, very like execution is also equally important. A lot of us can come with a good business idea, but we cannot make startup out of it. So execution is very important, and you should have a complementary skill. So we had that kind of a complementary skill among ourselves. There are a lot of like people who is good with strategy, good with stories. There are people who will get you all the resource. I'm not right now pointing Sneha, I'm not saying, and just saying this was the first, but I'm just saying ki there are a lot of people who are good in execution. I am also good in execution. There are a lot of Srijan is good in strategy. Sometimes lot of Sneha is mix of all the things. And it's not only about strategy and execution, it's also about PPT making. It's also about a lot of things comes into a play, but PPT making and all those things falls into execution itself. So you have to choose your team members who are good in complementary skills as well.
So I would also like to add, I mean, that all is really important, but I think every PPT is divided into certain parts. Like first you make a strategy, then there will obviously be a marketing segment in most of the case studies, then there'll definitely be a finance segment, and then there'll be this roadmap that you make at the end of it. So you can't have a team probably where no one knows anything about finance or everyone is just really ops focused, right? You need people in the team who really know every part of it. Like in our team, one person knew real finance very well, one worked on the marketing part, one worked on the execution part. So having a mix is really important. I think that should be kept in mind when making a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
of course, not to mention, because it's a case competition, ultimately you have to present. So the communication skills need to be on point.
Yeah, for sure.
super important. Then again, like again we generally laugh during our like PPTs that when company comes with some core philosophy like sustainability, social impact, these agendas, generally people laugh. These are cliched uh, topic of the companies. Everyone wants to make profit. Nobody cares about these things, but they have to project itself. But I think it's wrong. I'm working with HUL. I know about Reckitt itself also. We These company have some core philosophy. Definitely they want to make profit, but at the same time they stick to their core philosophy. They want to spend time. They want to make effort to be sustainable. They want to create that social impact. So when you are when you are making a story about your case competition, you should also align you should also align your solution to that core philosophy of the company. So that is one of the most important thing, because when the solution of your frequency matches with your company, with the other company, then I think that is one of the winning recipe of a your case competition.
I will add to that. I'll add to that and say that it is very important to do your legwork, your homework, before you will start working on a solution. Because once we got the case, I remember one of the first things we did was sit down, all three of us, and go through the entire product portfolio of Reckitt, not just in India but internationally, to understand what kind of products this company makes, what kind of market it caters to, and then went onto their website and see what are the reports they have published. And one of the reports that we came across in our legwork, during our homework, before we even come up with the idea, is actually very became very useful for us in our case solution, which will save time. So yeah, do your homework, know the company as well as you can.
Also, I think that like connecting with alumni is like a really important thing who are working in the company and from your college especially. They'll be like really helpful. I think when we were coming up with this idea and we had like 2 3 ideas in our mind which we wanted to further develop on. We were not really fixated on this one, but I just think speaking to like a few seniors of ours who were already in Reckitt really helped us understand what the company per se is going towards itself. Like, what is the ideology of the company right now and what they're focusing on, so we could, mold our solution accordingly. So don't hesitate to contact the alumni and feel that why will they ever respond to us, or no, they will, because they want their college people also to come into the company, right? And your college to get glory. So don't hesitate to reach out to anybody. It's okay. There's nothing to lose.
Even if they're not from your college, if you want to reach out to people, just reach out. Worst they
Yeah.
can, worst that can happen is they will not respond.
Yeah.
But if you don't take the chance, you will never get that opportunity.
Next, I think again people will say ki, like divide the work among yourself and then try to execute it. So I will just give you example. There is one very famous story like blind man and elephant. So there are five or five, six blind people are there. They touch the different part of elephant, and someone who touches the leg, they says that this is a tree. Someone who touches the uh, tail of the elephant, they say ki this is the like snake or something like this, because you are making a coherent story. So you should not divide the strategic work. Menial task you can divide. Ki suppose we have to contact 10 people, or like every person will contact 3 people. But anything which is making a coherent story, suppose I am just saying ki we have to make a slide. Just take the slides which is in the screen right now. So if you will divide a slide, key marketing I will do, finance someone else will do, or like some other operation some other person will do, they will have some their cooked up story in their mind. They will make a ppt which is disjointed of everything. So the coherency in the story is very important. So whenever we started making the slide, we never divided the slides like we will make this slide. Okay, I will make the introduction slide, we will make the finance slide. Even if you are making the slides, because the theme of the slide should also like match. If 3 people are making the slide, definitely the theme will also vary. So even if you want to match the theme, people should sit together and they will work in harmony. That is how the coherent story builds up in a case competition. So that is one thing which I want to mention.
I
Yeah,
think very relevant points that you've highlighted, Priyanshu, Sneha, and Srijan, whether it be teamwork or it be discussing about your ideas or taking seniors into the perspective and trying to think whether your ideas are in line with the brand strategy or company's overall promotion strategy or not. I think all of these are relevant points. And now I think what we can do is we can move on to the solution part of it for move. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like you to start the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, so as mentioned before, our problem statement was that who is being considered as an old people brand, and sales in the affluent segment and the youth segment is dropping down. So we had to come up with an idea to make sure that it does not happen. There's a resurgence in the brand recognition, that the name Move is not associated with old people or with a very what to say a very old brand. It needs to be a fresh, new, reputed brand. But what we realized is that it is because this is Move already has a product portfolio. It's a very small product portfolio, 2 3 products, but it already does a product portfolio which is related to pain relief. We had to come up with a kind of pain relief which would address these markets. As Sneha mentioned, we had a few ideas, but the one we ended up with was to target period pain. Now, how do we come up with it? Many people can come up with the same idea from different methods. We came up with by basically addressing all kinds of pain that are possible that we can address. Period pain is something we picked up because this is something that affects a large percentage of the population. It's a big market. So financially, it makes sense. And also, it makes sense based on what Reckitt has already been doing in other countries. So it also makes sense from a company coherence perspective. So once that is done, once you are ready with your like when you're ready with the idea of your solution at first, then comes you have to make sure you have whatever I've said, you have to quantitatively show that this is a problem that needs fixing, quantitatively and qualitatively. And that's what the first slide is. The first slide is basically the problem statement. So these are the kind of people who are affected by these problems: the Indian housewife, the working woman, the diva, the student. So it shows a large age group which is being targeted. Then there are the problems. So these are personal stories. So here we're starting building customer personas, personal stories. Then we go to the socio-economic impact, which again, what you have to pick here depends on the case you're working on, the brand you're working with. Reckitt very heavily pushes towards socio-economic impacts to its products. So this is one thing we picked. And then of course you have to do your research. And for research, basically you have to do customer service. Customer service is, there are many other ways. Customer service seems to be the most conclusive. So we did our primary research. We floated a form to as many women and girls as we could to understand whether they associate period pain with another product or not. Why product? Because we are trying to find a market gap. So if we are coming up with a new product line, we have to make sure that there's a gap in the market that we are addressing, and that's why a product will sell. Ultimately, it's a business sense. So it has to make business sense. So we did our primary research and we found that 80% of women, most of the women, do not associate menstruation-related pain relief with any particular product or brand. So basically, when you tell period pain relief in a woman's head, no particular brand will come, and that's a market gap that we're willing to target.
Next slide.
I'll go to the next slide.
Yeah. So
Now,
yeah. So basically, since now we knew that what is the problem that exists in the market, and we knew that what are the current solutions, we found out where the gap lies, right? And then we came up with products in order to fit that gap exactly, so that we aren't overlapping with anything that already exists in the market. So we suggested a holistic kit to counter all the different period pain problems. But our main, like our star show in this, was the Move Nova patches, the basically pain relief patches that can be applied on the abdominal area. And we gave two variants of them, Glow and Quick, because period pain are of like varying intensity and varying time periods for different females. After that, we also had a sub product called Move Nova Roll On, which could be applied very easily to different parts of the body, especially the muscular areas in the back or the leg muscles that generally hurt on the second day of periods. And we also came up with Move Nova head spray, because right now the only thing that does exist in the market for head sprays are those balms that need to be applied and they make your hands very greasy, or basically a hair oil that helps you relieve head pain. But there's nothing for easy application. So all these three products of ours were centered around the fact that a woman should first have extreme ease in application of these products, like get them applied on her body within 2 to 3 minutes, and be able to apply them even if she's in her workplace or like anywhere outside, right? She should not be confined, she should not have to go with, like, into a room or have this elaborate procedure for applying this. And after she applies it also, she should be able to go outside. So that's about it. We also came up with an app to track periods and for other functions, which we will be mentioning on further in the slide. And we also did mention the competition that exists. We do know that there are players like Nua, Sirona, etc., that do come up with pain relief patches as of now, but their penetration in the Indian market is less, and they don't have variants or aren't that popular. So that's what we wanted to capitalize on. You want to move to the next slide, or you want to add something?
No.
no,
Okay.
I think this is the slide which decided our future in that case competition. So this is the slide. I can definitely say this, because of this slide we won that case competition. So how
yeah,
the
wonderful.
core philosophy of the company strategically aligns with our solution. So this slide was a culmination of a heavy research of 5 to 10 days. We were researching through everything, like what are the sister brands. This slide came from a sister brand, Nurofen, which is also one of the Reckitt's product. So how they are thinking, what they want to develop, what are the researches they have done, what are the pain points or the gap in the market they have already identified. And based on that, we also aligned our story so that it matches with their core philosophy. That is why I also highlighted in the beginning that the core philosophy of your solution should also match with the agenda of FMCGs, and like this was particularly for FMCG industry, but it should match. So these are not the facades, like sustainability and social impact, these are not the facades of the company, these are actually impactful. These are the impactful matrices which a company tries to attain itself. So those companies who really want to play a big, like, long game, they will definitely look for these kind of a solution what you want to do. So just I just want to highlight what. So these are the few pointers which we picked up from the Reckitt research itself. It's not our research, it's something which we picked up from the report of the Reckitt itself. So I think Srijan will pick it up.
Yeah, so Reckitt has a brand called Nurofen, which is also a pain relief brand, but it is available mostly in UK and US, not available in India as of now. Available in Southeast Asia, other countries of Southeast Asia as well, which clearly mentions that there is a it. So Nurofen actually publishes a gender pain gap report. This is from 2022. This was the latest that we had, and which clearly mentions there is a pain discrimination because of gender that is happening, even in developed countries. In India, it is even worse. And because of that, it launched a campaign called See My Pain campaign. This was launched by Reckitt in UK, which basically it was a purpose-led initiative to address the gender pain gap. And they have to make sure that they come up with a solution which are visible on in 4 different areas: in research, in product, in healthcare, and over time. So we made sure that the story that we came up with for our product aligned with the story that Reckitt is already projecting. And other than that, that is not just the story, not just the concept part, also for the products, the products that we are suggesting, how our products are synergistic with the existing products that Reckitt already has. So that is also something that we made sure. So for example, yeah, and then also the leadership point. This is something which is very, very important. People who are high up in the company know where the company is going the best. So they understand what the vision of the company is 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So if they're saying something, that is important for you. And if your product idea matches with their statement, that's a very, very, very positive sign for you. That means you are thinking in the right direction. You are thinking in the direction that the leadership is thinking. So that is a great thing. I'm not going to go very in depth here because all of this is very specific to our case. But yeah, the basic point here is to make sure that the product idea, the product concept is first aligned with the future of the company as per the leadership, and the product idea is also aligned with the existing product portfolio that the company has. And this whole slide was about that, making clear that whatever we are offering is very aligned with Rocket, very aligned with Reckitt, very synergistic with Reckitt. And this was a major thing.
And this kind of a slide means, I'm not saying kind of a slide, but this kind of a like presentation about the strategic synergy, leadership synergy, because we are pulling that each and every statement from the internet. They have like told some in public forum or something, like in like some research paper, public forum, their CEO is coming on some award show or something, they are saying something, we are picking those particular statement and putting it here. So this takes time, you have to be like very patience about ki this, like how we will make this slide. This slide itself took around 10 to 12 days, because we never know that this slide is going to come. Reckitt's right to win, this slide came at the end of the like complete case competition. So you
Okay.
have to be like, you have to thoroughly research internet, because it takes time, and this is the slide which made us to win this competition.
And also, it not just shows why your product is good for Reckitt, it also shows that why this problem is one that Reckitt needs to solve. Why this problem is one that Reckitt is the perfect company to solve. Going to the next slide.
Next slide. So, so basically, now that we had covered first what the problem statement was, second, why this problem statement can be addressed since there's no other competition, third, how are we going to address it, and fourth, why is Reckitt the best to solve this problem. Now we wanted to cover how could we make the people aware of the same, that such a product exists, and about why they should choose Reckitt's particular product in comparison to the market competition. So in this we came up with the execution part of it. The first thing that we did cover was the awareness. In our case, since it was period pain that we were talking about, I think in India, period pain is still a taboo in general. People are not very open while speaking about it. So our campaign had two major phases. First, teaching the people about period pain in general and making it normal to talk about it. And second, then about how Reckitt and these new products of Move Nova would help solve that particular problem. So you can see here we wanted to come up with a national campaign, Seeing We See You, and relaunching TV saying Zindagi ke beech mein dard nahi aana chahiye and stuff like that. These were our marketing campaigns. After that, we tried to cover the distribution channel aspect of it. We don't didn't only want to make our presence felt on in the physical stores, but also online because we were targeting the affluent youth market. So we thought online would be a good place to uh, go. And also, since pads were available in dispensing units, we thought that we could partner with them and sell the pain relief patches there as well. The pilot run is something that basically that happens before the manufacturing is done on a large scale. We wanted to do it down south and in the western regions because we feel that that's where the our major market would lie as a whole. It was also in synergy with the pre-existing brands of Reckitt that we wanted to capitalize on. So we wanted to capitalize on the bandaging property of Dettol and on a few other things which we will see later on. So that's something why we decided to make the pilot run in particular places and then obviously spread it all over India.
So this
I
is
just want
basically
to.
the
Okay, go on, sorry.
yeah, this is basically just the marketing campaign of once your product is there, once your product is ready, how do you make sure that people buy it? And here is where you can be very, very creative. Our marketing campaign, I would say, was comprehensive. So we targeted every possible aspect that there was to target. But as far as creativity goes, there is a lot of huge scope for creativity here. Marketing is very creative field. You can be very creative here, and make if again this is again something you have to keep in mind that the company that you are working the case for, what their marketing is like. If you will see, Reckitt already does a lot of social impact marketing. So this is one thing we picked on. Reckitt is also a very huge spender in marketing. So big marketing campaigns is nothing new for Reckitt. So again, synergy with the existing marketing strategy of the company. And yeah, the Nari for Nari thing was also an application-based thing, which uh, I'm linking back to the same thing again and again. But this is again something Reckitt has already done, not in India, but they have done in other countries. So yeah, a lot of basically what I'm saying is a lot of research about what the company has already done, and according to that, what we can do here, how we can change that to fit our market. A lot of that goes into making a marketing happen, but there's a lot of scope for creativity here. You can like go wide here, be as creative as you can.
Again, lot of research goes here as well, like for marketing means like what is the history of their marketing campaign, like what kind of a. So this awareness thing, if you'll see, a lot of ads are there where Reckitt is not promoting their brand itself, they are just promoting the awareness about the problem. They are not promoting any solution. First they will create the awareness, keep people that this is a taboo, we should talk about pain, there is a pain. So this is something which is particular, like what, how they are, like when they launch a solution, how they launch their solution, what is their, again coming back to the same point, core philosophy, how they are reaching out to their customer, what is their marketing philosophy. So this has to be keep in mind. So they just want to highlight, like in short, that when we presented during, we had a lot of mentorship session with the, because Reckitt they themselves provided with some mentors to like gauge the idea how it is going. So a lot of people question about like your marketing campaign is not good, but it may happen that they are not fully aware about their core philosophy itself. So it's your responsibility that you should take all the breadth of the like research. We told the other person, like who was in company, that this is how Reckitt does the marketing. They first create a lot of, they have created a lot of awareness ad. He was not Like he didn't know that Reckitt creates this kind of a ad, because he said like it's going to be a lot of cost burden for the company if you are creating awareness. What is the benefit out of it? He said like this is not a good strategy. But again we brainstormed with each other, like whether we should keep it or not. But at the end we kept it. We want to create awareness, this is something Reckitt does, and we kept it, and we presented it in the final as well.
Okay, I'll just add one thing, not related directly to this slide, but something I should have added in the beginning. When you are working on an idea and going to present in a test competition, it is very, very important for you that you have to be the biggest critic of that idea. When you are presenting it to someone else, any criticism that comes from their side, it should be something that you have already thought about and already talked about. You should be that comprehensive and that critical of your idea. Along with that, you should also be in love with your idea. These two things have to go in hand in hand. You need to be the biggest supporter of your idea and the biggest critic of our idea. I'll say one thing, that when our final presentation was happening, there was also a Q&A round. There were no questions that were asked that we were not prepared for, because we had discussed every possible weakness that there was in the product and in our presentation and in our idea already. Because it cannot be a perfect solution. Whatever you come up with, there are all three weaknesses. You have to be the biggest critic and make sure that all of that is covered before you present it to anyone else. And a lot of input you will get from people. Whether or not to include that in your idea is ultimately your call.
I think,
So I think
Srijan, that point of view also comes when you have actually gone in depth and actually reviewed your idea. What are the loopholes in the idea? Have you actually taken care of them? Found out that what is your idea scope? Which are the factors that you are catering to, and which are the factors that you are maybe not looking at this point of time? If you are clear about all those things, only then that love and clarity perspective would come into the picture. The point that you said that
yeah,
we were almost prepared for all the questions that were asked in national finale were primarily because maybe you have gone through your idea at least 10, 15 times, maybe cross questioned yourself, why we have put in this, why we have not put in that. Is it actually in line with the overall group's brand strategy, or is it actually aligned with move strategy throughout the years? Is it in sync with it, or we are just diverting it? If we're diverting it, then maybe what are the factors that we're looking at? Is it helping us achieve the bigger picture? I think when you think about all those factors and kind of try to connect it, only then that love part would come into the picture. So I think hats off to you guys that you are able to think through so many things when you are presenting or creating this deck and solution. I think
I
we can move
just
on to the yeah,
I
Sneha,
I
please.
just think we were very big critiques of each other. So if I would suggest an
yeah.
idea, Srijan and Prianshu would always be like, "No, no, don't do that. Do something else." And then like vice versa. And then I would be in so much in love with my idea that I would fight like tooth and nail for it. So I think that's also some why you need to be really good friends within your team, right? So that these guys can like exactly tell me what they hate about my idea and I can like defend it full on. So that's where you develop and actually build on that idea, because no one's going to hate it more, my idea, more than what these guys would during the
So
ideation
definitely
stage.
we
So
during
yeah.
the like case competition we made a rule. We'll democratically elect any idea. If there is a
Yeah.
like at least there should be two-person who will like proponent for that idea. If that is going to happen, then we will include that slide. We will include that color. If it is not going to happen, we'll discard it. So that is
And
something
this
we
goes for
made this.
like, yeah, this goes for smallest of details in the slide to the biggest of the concepts. So it goes for everything democratically. Two of the three people have to agree. Best if all three agree, but two of the people have to agree for something to go into the
Mostly it was
idea
you two
into the
agreeing, but
presentation.
okay. Yeah, fine.
So I'm going to the
Next.
final slide. Uh, I'll just like before Priyanshu goes and explains it. I'll add one thing. So all the previous slides are the slides that you have to be creative in. This is one slide where you do not have to be creative at all. Just stick to the facts and very clearly stick to the numbers.
So I think that was the main point I just wanted to highlight. We always want to cook some numbers in financials. We always say कि we have the greatest idea. In the next year, your product is going to be the revenue driver for the Reckitt. So this is something we want. Like most of the people try to like massage their ego. They will say कि next year I will launch this product and it will be equivalent to the revenue of Reckitt. So this is people want to do in the revenue, I mean, like revenue side, or like when they cook up the numbers. So don't do it. Always try to like uh, always whatever numbers you are making it, take it like very pessimistic view. Even the worst case scenario, if it qualifies it, if the person who is sitting in front of you, even if in the worst case scenario they are pleased with your idea, they are going to accept it. So try to tackle those financial from that perspective as well. Go with the, not with the optimistic number, go with the pessimistic number. And in the case of making that number, I'm not saying we are making this number, because these are the ratios: cost of raw materials, employees cost. These cost has been taken right from the financials of the Reckitt. So if the revenue for a Reckitt is 100 rupees, then 20 rupees is going in a cost of raw material, 20%. So exact number which has been taken. When I say, like, when we are going to launch a product, I won't say like we will have a growth number like 70% or like 70% CAGR growth or something like. We took it very passively, like passive numbers. If you'll see, it's like 12%, 13% growth, assuming CAGR of 20% for a new product. If you launch a product next year, I can say that I will reach 500%, 600, because you don't have any base. Your base is very small initially. So definitely you can say that I will have a 500% growth. But that is not feasible. It's not, even if it is feasible, it's not going to be sustained for a longer period of a time. So people are going to question that your numbers. Lot of, like, our competitor, when we were presenting in the national television, like finale, people came with a cooked up numbers. And they, all the people senior leadership people, they started grilling all those people on those numbers. How you came up with these numbers? Is there any justification to each and every number? If you think like you will put up like 100 of numbers, and people will, they will not go through these numbers, they will probably bypass those numbers, because nobody wants to go in the detail. But I think you are mistaken. They will, each and every person will go to those numbers. What is your first year revenue? What is your CAGR? What is second year CAGR? If you'll see, our CAGR, initially we were having the CAGR of 20%. In third year, we toned it down to 10%. That is a normal CAGR of a company. We are doing it for a normal product. So if it is
It's
feasible
actually lower
from
than.
that perspective, yeah, lower
Yeah,
than
it is actually
company's growth
lower than,
itself.
it is lower than company's growth rate itself. So we went with a lower number, even then showing that even then the product will be profitable. And one thing which Prianshu said, I would also like to iterate, the judges panel who is sitting there, you might be able to convince them on that your marketing idea is good, even if they don't agree with it. You might be able to convince them with the product idea itself, even if they don't agree that it's great. But you might be able to convince them with numbers. You are not going to convince them if they are not convinced. They are business people. They know numbers of their company. They are what's inside out. You are not going to fool them. So be very careful with your numbers whenever you are there.
So in the end, I think I would just like to add one thing, that as we did mention that 3 or 4 out of the 5 teams all were from the move domain, and out of 4, I think 3 at least had pitched the same idea as we did, right? So you're not
Similar
going to be
ideas.
the only person who's going to be thinking of the idea if it's but an obvious idea, right? There are going to be a lot of other teams who are going to be thinking of this idea, and it was a decent, good enough idea. That's why they brought 3 or 4 of the finalists from this particular idea. But what differentiated, I think, us from them is first the financial thing that Priyanshu did. I think it was done very well. It was very realistic. And second is how you present the entire story. So having a storyline to the presentation is really important. As you can see in our presentation, we've done why this problem statement, why Reckitt, why this product, how are we going to communicate it to the audience, and then how are we going to make profit. So everything is very well explained. We also kind of did a skit kind of thing while presenting online as well as offline. There were a few objections to it while presenting offline, but then we went ahead with it because we thought that it makes sense. Where I come running in the end and being like, "Sorry, I'm late. I was on my period," something like that. It was a little silly, sure, but then I think that's what got people's attention. So if you do want to do a skit or something out of the box, which helps people actually listen to what you're trying to say, go ahead and do it. I think that's what differentiates you from the other teams.
You have to make sure that your story throughout, from the moment you start speaking and the moment your first slide comes in to the end, has to be coherent. Which
Yeah.
is again, as Sneha said, this is the difference that I saw in our team versus other teams. Our entire story, our entire presentation, our idea, our marketing campaign, why Reckitt should do it, our financials, all of it was very coherent, very connected. So it was a one story. I noticed that throughout our presentation, the judges panel were very carefully, very attentively listening to us throughout. One, because our presentation was interesting. The skit part also really helped. It captures their attention, makes them listen to it. And that is important because they're going to be presented like 4 or 5 different presentations in a span of like 2 or 4 hours. So you have to make sure that whatever you have to say, they are hearing it. You have to make it fun. You have to make it clear.
And like it's just want to highlight one more point, like so we brainstormed a lot, like we cannot, like we, each and every aspect of a case we like thought of, we delved into, we discussed it. So like I also want to highlight, like Srijan, so when we were having the Q&A, each and every aspect was covered and we answered each and every questions very beautifully. They were really convinced with whatever numbers we put, whatever brand campaign we came up with, whatever the name of the like particular product. So we went to the history of like products, what is the philosophy of like naming a brand. So a lot of questions came. One of the main question was like why you named your product as a Narva.
Yeah.
So we had a story around it also. So so the
We had a story
question and
around it,
answer was
and
one of the,
we had
yeah,
although we had done research like how Reckitt names its products already.
Yeah.
So basically, as I said, there's nothing in this slide which is without like which does not have some research behind it and something. We had discussed this also, that if they ask me why we have named this number, what are we going to answer? So yeah,
Um, Also, just like to end, like I just like to say something in the end. I mean, I've done a lot of case studies, tried my hands at like a lot of things when I was in college, and sure, we put in a lot of effort to make the slide as it is, and we thought it was pretty good. But there are a lot of times it also depends on luck. I think 90% of it was hard work, but 10% of it was also luck. So if you don't get selected a lot of times and you're continuously trying, and you're not making it through the semi-finals or you're not making it through campus round, it's okay. Don't give up, just keep on trying. Because yeah, for like one of us, it was our first case study. But for like a few of us, it was also probably our 20th case study. So it's okay to like not give up and keep on trying because you never know what might really work out in your favor. So don't give up hope by like, being rejected on like the fifth try.
but
we
once you will start working
like
on your project, like this case competition, you will have that gut feeling, because we started having that gut feeling that we are going to win this
I
case
have that gut
competition. That
feeling
is
for
for sure.
every case
Yeah.
competition I did.
I agree
one
with
thing I'll
Sneha.
say
I have
is
that gut feeling every time.
Yeah.
I will
I was like, I'll win this one.
one thing I will say is fall in love with the journey. The destination, the
Yeah.
final, the winning, all of that will come, but fall in love with the journey. Working on a case like this, working on an idea that specifically working that you an idea that you have come up with, that you are enjoying, that you think has power, that you think can win, working on it over a period of 2 months and refining it over and over and understanding how this is going to work with the company, all of that gives you a lot of learning, which something is not, it's not something you can learn in a class. It's not something, I'll say, even it is very difficult to learn in corporate also at this level, because then you're already in the company, you're already bound. So there is a level of there is a boundary that you are working in. So doing this in a college with a group of friends, the learnings that you get from there is something that I don't think you can get elsewhere, even whether you win or not. That's a separate issue.
So I
I
think,
think we should open for question and answers.
yeah, if there is anyone who wants to ask anything.
I think we've already taken up a lot of time, as is
Uh,
usual
so
with
I,
our group.
so we don't have any questions at this point of time. So just to reiterate, maybe the last few minutes that you guys talked about. First is try to be as genuine as possible in financials. Company executives know how things work, and they know explicitly how things work for their company. So you
Yeah.
cannot convince them about something that they know more about, right? You have less or no idea about it. So be very true with respect to financials. Growth rates and all, again, it depends on the product. And here we are just putting it theoretically, and henceforth, if it is theory, then try to be slightly conservative in that sense and enjoy the journey. you might or might not win every time, but more important is whether you learned or gained something out of it. And if there is that output, then at the end of the day, it is kind of a win for you. So with that, I think we can close the discussion for today. Thank you, team, for coming here and enlightening us about your journey. uh, wish you guys all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you so much.